I was reviewing Scion of the Three Rogue, and I was disappointed because it wasn't a strong murder hobo, nor did it even try to lean into Baldur's Gate 3 fan service. So that made me think, oh, I'm gonna make my own subclasses. Welcome to Pack Tactics, where we do the monster mash. This is a Barbarian subclass where you channel your inner rage to warp your body into a towering avatar of destruction. This subclass straight up turns you into a large monster like a Deathclaw or something more accurate to D&D, a Slayer. This is the Slayer subclass. There's many ways you can flavor this, like you can become a Tarrasque, a Balrog, or even something simple like a giant deadly werewolf. The flavor is very flexible for you. As for the design goal, I'm aiming to cover a Barbarian weakness. They struggle with AoE damage. Not a single official subclass has an AoE damage feature, so I made one. This will in effect also bridge the martial caster divide more, but I'm not aiming to solve it because, well, that requires me to nerf all the best spells in the game. Here, I just wanted to design something I thought would be super fun and very effective. It's a monster on purpose. The power I'm really aiming for is above a half-caster, really. I'm not balancing this around your average martials. There's 8 other classes in the game that are so much better than the martials, so I believe I have a wide power ceiling I can play around with. Trust me, if I posted this on Reddit, it would be downvoted to oblivion for being broken. But I just want to innovate mechanics to start a discussion. These classes can be so much more, and they could be interesting and fun. I want players to look forward to their features. Now let me be transparent before I start. You should not look at me as a game designer or anyone who is particularly good at writing. I'm a content creator on the internet. I didn't go to school to study English or game design or anything. I'm a kobold. Kobolds are not allowed to go to school. But I do understand D&D very well. I'm versed in the game language and the math around these mechanics. But of course, speaking, reading, and writing are different skills. Creating things is a lot harder than reviewing things. There's room for improvements in my mechanical writing. Don't expect Wizards of the Coast quality here. Their writing is incredibly good. Another thing is, I'm going to be going against some of D&D's class design. Not only to innovate what barbarians could potentially be, but also to deliver the desired concept and power. I'm making a monster. So there will be feature bloat here. Now let's begin. I made some flavor text, which can be expanded on, but if you're watching this video, I don't think I need to. I've been treating names and flavor text as afterthoughts. Now let's dive into features. First up is Monstrous Form. When you enter into Rage, you can transform yourself into a hulking monstrosity. You decide what the monster's form looks like. While in this form, you gain the following benefits. Towering. If you are smaller than large, you become large. If there isn't enough room for you to increase your size, you're forced into a squeeze. In addition, you choose whether your equipment falls in your space or merges into your new form. Claws. Your unarmed strikes have a reach of 10 feet and instead do 2d6 slashing damage. Muscular Defense. You can add your strength modifier to your unarmed defense feature. Becoming large by itself is a debuff because more creatures are able to swarm you. You'll naturally be more focus fired, you're the biggest target. That's why I added Muscular Defense. I think everything else is pretty much straightforward. The good thing with large size though is it will be easier for you to block off double doorways or 10-foot hallways, which is a form of tanking. If you're playing classic 5e, this can solve the martial caster divide if you use oversized weapons in theory together with Great Weapon Master. But all of that was nerfed to the ground in 5.5. I did design this subclass with 5.5 more in mind, but it's actually more compatible with 5e. Funny how that turned out. As for the rage itself, just to clarify in case it isn't clear, when you rage, you don't automatically transform into a monster. You can choose. That way you don't freak everyone out in a regular village or whatever. People won't chase you with pitchforks. But you won't get the benefits of the transformation features like the claws and stuff. Now let's get into your main feature, Slayer. All the names from now on are named after bands and songs. So if you get the references, tell me in the comments. Your claws are deadly and your swipes are far-reaching. Once per turn, when you make a melee attack against a creature, you can instead force each creature other than yourself within 10 feet of the original target and within your reach to make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, a creature takes damage equal to your claw's damage. You can only use this feature while in your monster's form. The DC is, 8 plus strength, blah, 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 blah. When you use Reckless Attack with this feature, each creature makes their dexterity saving throw with disadvantage.
Yes! Queen, slay!
This is my attempt on an AoE martial feature. This could be an emanation, but I didn't want a Crash Bandicoot feature. I wanted a half swipe AoE, which is an emanation cut in half. But I have no idea how to put it in words without it sounding terrible. I've rewritten this mechanic like 7 times. The easiest method is just to go with what Thunderwave does. But that's not enough for me. This is the best shape I could make. I've got the picture here. Now I could go with cones, but they're so cursed that I don't want you to play with them. Anyways, I went with Dex Save for 3 reasons. The first one has to do with speed. It's just faster when the DM makes all those rolls, and forcing saves with AoEs follows 5e design. The second reason is to make it weaker than regular attacks when it comes to single targets. You can't crit with saves, for example, and you can't use Weapon Master or whatever, so I still encourage the single target swings. The third reason is just to make the math incredibly easy to find and understandable for transparency's sake. It's still claws plus strength plus rage bonus. This AoE covers a major class weakness with mobs and is intentionally designed to make you think about where you're standing in melee to improve your DPR. Like, guys, how do I get more DPR here? Easy, I just attack the kobold in the middle here, because that way I get 2 targets rather than 1.
But kobold, this is already better than every barbarian subclass out there. And this isn't tied to a resource.
That's intentional. I already talked about how wide the power ceiling is when you consider all the classes. And right now you're incredible. Funnily enough, I'm competing with Echo Knight when I made this, which has an even better feature that's also spammable too. Slayer is still tied to your rage resource, but it's still spammable. Anyways, let's go back to your DPR. Again, it's really easy to calculate. With point buy assuming 16 strength and 60% chance enemies fail to save, the DPR to a single target is 7.2. If you get 2 targets, that's 14.4 DPR. If you force disadvantage, that's an 84% chance they fail. You'll get 10 DPR single targets. And if there's 2 targets you can hit, that's 20 DPR. You get the points. The math is really easy and transparent. Anyone can calculate this. It's not half damage or anything. And also dialing it back is super easy. If you want to put like a hard resource on it, then you can do that. Oh, proficiency times. But I don't think that's necessary. I want you to go rampage with this. Have fun. The next feature of course scales the AoE further at level 6. You get a feature called Mayhem. I've seen them live, it was very fun. Whenever you deal damage with your Slayer feature, multiply the total damage by your rage damage. Your claws and the Slayer feature can also deal your choice of force damage or its normal damage type. Right now, you multiply the damage by 2. At level 9, it goes to 3, which is round about where you need a damage increase anyways. And lastly, it caps at 4 at level 16. Endgame, where casters are gods. Again, super easy to calculate. Assuming you increased your strength at level 4, your Slayer damage at level 6 would be 15.6 DPR per creature. And with advantage, it ramps up to 21.84 DPR per creature. You're still doing expected average martial damage. We're not even close to fireball damage, but, we're resourceless. This is resourceless AoE. Well, kind of. The expensive cost is we're going into melee where we take damage. And we're a large creature, so, we're 2 times more likely to be affected by a fireball from your silly team, am I right? The other 6th level feature they get...
Wait, kobold, another one?
Yes, only crits is where you can get amazing dice that roll around.
Damn, Damn, you tricked me.
And guess what, Gator? Kobold and Gator Dice are now available on the Only Crit store.
Oh my god, Kobold, it's me and you.
Yes, the Kickstarter was so successful that you can now buy us in the Dice store. For those that missed out and really wanted a chunky dice or something, well, there it is. You can buy them now. Only Crits also have like 200 other dice sets to check out in case you don't like us. No hard feelings. Head on over to onlycrits.com/packtactics if you're interested.
If you decide to buy something, use the code GATOR for 15% discounts. Yay!
Back to the video. No, I'm not joking. There is another 6th level feature.
Kobold, what the heck? This is feature blouts.
Yes, I'm breaking all the rules, but I promise this is the last feature blout. It's not that bad. Here, I just want to give you another tool to play around with. You know, to diversify your gameplay. Give you dopamine. You're a stupid barbarian. I gave you the fear spell a number of times equal to your rage damage. You can cast it while raging and it does not require concentration. It's a long rest resource, and the spell casting ability is tied to your strength. Exactly. And fear is an appropriate spell. You're a monster. Now, I'm aware that I'm handing you a really strong spell. 30-foot cone that forces a wisdom save, and on a fail, they drop whatever they're holding, get the frightened condition, and dash away from you. Then from there, you just chase after them like a predator. You can combo this with casters who are taking advantage of spike growth or web or whatever. So they're gonna love you. The number of uses scaling really works out too, in my opinion. And by the way, it is intended to work with and without rage. I like it flexible. You don't need to transform into a monster to do this. Next is level 10. Normally the level 10 feature is a defensive feature, and I provided something a bit different instead. It's called Death from Above. It's a reference to a punk rock song. Party Animals is one of my favorite albums of all time. You guys should listen to it. These guys are Norwegian.
All my friends are dead. All my friends are dead.
Anyways, you are relentless. While in your monster's form, you no longer take damage from falling. Once per round at the start of a turn, you can jump up to 30 feet. If you fall into the space of another creature, the creature must succeed on a DC 15 dexterity saving throw. On a fail, the creature takes 1d6 bludgeoning damage for every 10 feet you fell, to a maximum of 20d6. The creature is knocked prone underneath your feet and is considered grappled by you. You occupying the creature's space in this way does not force you prone. So falling onto a creature is a rule in Tashes. It never made it in the player's handbook for some reason, which causes problems for creators who are following the SRD. So the language here is a bit of a Frankenstein monster. Another funny thing is when two creatures occupy the same space, they both automatically fall prone. I don't remember exactly where this is. Am I making this up? I don't know. I swear I read this somewhere. Well, if it's not on the screen, maybe I just made it up. I don't know. Sorry about that. Anyways, yeah. The defensive part really is the mobility. This is effectively a legendary action I just gave you. You can jump 30 feet off your turn. That could be behind cover, away from enemies, towards enemies, and so on. You can only do this once per round. In dungeons, ceilings are pretty low, so I don't know how often you get to Goomba Stomp, but you'll definitely long jump from time to time. I was actually thinking of nerfing this and changing it completely, but all my friends and players were like, oh my god, this is the coolest feature ever. And I have a player who wants to play this so badly. They asked me, can I please play this? So I'm doing something, right? People are excited. That's the goal. I want people to be excited to reach level 10 Barbarian. I don't think I've ever heard anybody be excited for a level 10 Barbarian feature. Anyways, last feature. Capstone at level 14. Megadeath. You can cast a power word kill spell without expending a spell slot a number of times equal to half your rage damage rounded down. You can cast this spell while rage is active. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Strength is your spell casting ability for this spell.
Holy moly! early. That's really early.
Yeah, 9th level spell. At this level, you have 1 cast. At level 16, you have 2. If the wizard can have Simulacrum at level 13, which effectively more than doubles their resources and power, then you can have Power Word Kill. I don't see any problem with that. This spell was nerfed recently because CR 10 monsters and higher are all HP boosted. Some of them are even doubled in fact, so Barb getting this is pretty tame. I think we should be like Leon and give Grace the Magnum, you know? Here, have a bullet or two and fire away. Do crime, my death machine. You deserve it.
Kobold, this is a monster.
Good, that was the point. You can play this if you want, you can nerf it, you can boost it, you can talk bad about it, you can rip it to shreds, you can optimize it, you can share it, you can do whatever you want. But now you have a good idea on what I want out of a martial feature-wise right now. I'm just starved for something interesting and exciting. It doesn't necessarily need to be very powerful, even though what I showed was powerful. It just needs to be unique, fun, and useful enough to want me to play it all the way through to the end. And the only way to do it right now is to innovate martial mechanics. End of video. Don't forget to check out Only Crits, and you can also sign up for the Peru trip if you wish. That will also be in the description. Anyways, thank you for watching. Bye bye!